How's it going today? So this is the EhCast, a couple of good old island boys chatting about gaming and stuff like that. Now I should let you know, this episode's gonna be a little different because if we go forward in time, Kevin, you look forward in time from right now, you're not here.
It's true.
It is true. Kevin is, as we say in the island, he's going away.
Going away.
Going away. Away is anywhere that isn't this province. And Kevin is going there.
Yes.
To the land of away.
Yes. Also known as Australia.
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 Going to Australia. Yeah, so that's what's going on. So this episode's gonna be a little bit different. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So no housekeeping or anything like that. We're chopping right into it, and it's gonna be me telling some stories.
Oh.
Yeah,
Story
it's
time with
gonna be
Nathan.
good. It's gonna be good. I've had a crazy couple of days. So let's just back her right up from the beginning. So it was on Sunday. Currently today is Thursday.
Yes.
And on Sunday, you and I were like, we're gonna bike 100K. This story is called
Was that
the
our target?
Quest
That was our
100K.
target, wasn't it?
Yes.
All right.
So we're going, and things aren't going super smooth, I wouldn't say. We end up biking into a thunderstorm. I guess those aren't good when you're on like a big metal bike.
Yeah, it's a metal bike, kind of out in the open a little bit.
Yeah, not necessarily a good idea. So anyway, so we're like, frig it, we should probably head back. So we're doing that, it's good. Kevin is, you're huffing along, and I think you're huffing along because we polished off a case of beer the night before. I don't know why we would do that.
Another case of beer.
Interesting.
Got up in the morning, forced the sandwich down because I am not a morning
And your
eater
sandwich
or
was like
person at
half
all.
mayonnaise, half meat. That's
Oh, it wasn't that much mayonnaise.
Kev's just like down in a mayonnaise sandwich there. Oh, I'm ready to go work out.
But yeah, it wasn't a good situation.
Great
It was
decision.
a hot, humid day.
So
and,
then this next version of the story is my version of it, then we can hear the lie after. So the truth of what happened is Kev's like, Nathan, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm gonna go hang out over there. And he pointed to like a Tim Hortons, which are plentiful in the land of Canada.
Yep.
So he pointed over to Tim Hortons. I'm like, okay, cool. He's gonna go hang out there. Awesome. So I go and I'm sprinting back as fast as I can. I get in my car and we narrowly missed the rain and everything like that. I'm like, okay, now I'm just gonna find Kevin here. And I show up and he's like sprawled out on the ground like a starfish, just down. I'm surprised no one tried to give you CPRs. Like, I thought you were gonna hang out, look like a normal, you look like you were dead. Like bike to the side of you. I'm surprised like kids didn't come up and do the chalk outline. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so good decision, Kev, good decision. So
Yeah.
what's the lie now? What's the Kevin version?
I was definitely not sprawled out. 99% of the time I was there. I was just sitting, like legs crossed, just like on my phone, just, you know.
Crisscross
relaxing.
applesauce style, yeah.
Right, yeah. And I don't know, maybe another 1% of the time I'd like leaned over onto my elbow a little bit.
Like
But,
a starfish.
There was no starfishing.
So anyway,
At all.
so that goes by, and that's fine. It's no big thing. And anyway, fast forward to me working that night, and things aren't going so hot. So I'm like, you know how breathing is like normally a normal thing to do. It wasn't. So I'm like, uh-oh, this is bad. This is really bad. And then I started to freak out, and then I probably left the most horrifying shift report. At one point it said, help me. It's literally. So I'm like, uh-oh. So I called my parents, and they're like, yeah, you should go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, went to emergency. Apparently, now this is a well-known thing. I didn't know this. If you go to a hospital and you say you have chest pains, that is like the fast ticket in.
Nice.
Oh, you can, I mean, they'll do some stuff to you, but you'll get in, let me tell you. So I say that, and they're like, okay. So they hooked me up to an EKG, and we did a bunch of other stuff, and I got like x-rays and all this crap, and I actually got an ultrasound. Turns out, not pregnant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Added bonus.
So, you know, boo, condoms. And then, so that was good. And it turns out it was like a lung infection of some sorts. So he gave me some medication for it, and he's like, yo, you gotta go get this prescription filled. Go do that. And I'm like, okay, that's probably a good idea. So I wake up next morning, a little discombobulated, but I'm like, okay, I gotta go get my prescription. So I show up at the pharmacy house. Some call it a pharmacy.
Yeah.
And I showed up there, and like, okay, straight up, we both are going into the wrong field because my God, Kevin, the women working there, it's no joke. Oh my gosh. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, so these girls, very good looking. And so I go up and I give my prescription, and they're like, okay, fine. And I noticed they're looking at me a little more than usual. And typical Nathan, I'm just like, oh man, I'm looking really good today. I don't know what I'm doing extra, but like, I'm looking good. I like this. So anyway, so then the girl comes up to the counter and she's like, Nathan? And I go up there and I'm like, hey, how's it going? She's like, yeah, so the pharmacist wants to talk to you. And like really awkward. Yeah. I'm like, oh, poor girl, she's just shy. Okay, so then I go up to the pharmacist, I'm like, how you doing? And she's like, so, do you have an STI? So apparently the medication they're giving me is similar to that of someone who has an STI. And yeah, I was like, no, all I know is he checked out my lungs, that's all I know. And so that's what the girls were giggling. And then as soon as they heard me go like, oh my God, no, they all started laughing and hollering up a storm. So I thought they were, scoping at the kids. No. They're probably taking pictures, send it to your friend, being like, nope, avoid at all costs. If you see this man, run the other direction. So that was good. That was good. So now, taking the pills for a few days, feeling fine. Yeah. Today, I made a great decision. I was like, I'm going to do the 100K myself. Yeah, it'll be good. Kev's at work, got the whole day, let's do this. Didn't realize it was going to be like 40 degrees today, but I'm like, whatever, I can do it. So, I head off on my merry way. And I'm making decent pace. By the time I get about 20K in, I start taking snaps of it. Yeah. And I'm kind of like live feed doing everything, and I'm putting stuff on Instagram. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm putting it on Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Ooh. So I'm hitting up, the trifecta, I guess. Twitter would have been a good one too, but I don't remember how to log into Twitter because I'm an old person. So, fair enough. Oh, also about Instagram, I literally got Instagram 2 days ago. Have more people following me than we have subs. So, sweet. Yes, success. Anyway, So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, it'll be awesome. And then everyone will like hold me accountable to try and finish it for my 100K. So I'm going and I get just a little past Mount Stewart and this little squirrel's coming. And I'm like, hey buddy, where you going? And you know how squirrels like sometimes just dart across. Yeah. And then they dart back. Well, anyway, I'm going at a good clip and I see him go by, I'm like, ooh, thank God. And then poof, and I hear a thump. I look back. He's twitching. He's got the leg kicks going on like Elaine from Seinfeld. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is bad. Because like I've hit an animal when driving a car. Yeah. But that's different. It's so different. You can feel every bone crush when oh my gosh. I felt terrible. But you look back and he's just twitching and I'm like, oh no. And it definitely rocked my wheels a bit, but I didn't think much of it. So I'm like, oh God, this is awful. So keep going on my merry way, listening to music. Also, should note, my phone at 20% started the journey. 20%. So anyway, I'm listening to music on my phone the whole time, and I'm going down. I then get probably about the 50K, and I call my dad, and I'm like, hey man, like, so you're my backup plan if I don't make it. So I may only make it like 30 back, and then you may have to pick me up. And he's like, well, I'm in a different province, so no. And I'm like, oh. At this point, he decided to call me an idiot because, well, fair enough. Might as well call a spade a spade. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I learned something about that term. Remind me after you're done. Oh, let me know. Yeah, what's up? Right now? Yeah. Right now? Yeah, man.
Do you know what a spade is?
It's a shovel.
What? And?
A card? What is it?
A black person.
Oh.
Yes. I learned that the other day, and I'm like, I'm never going to use that phrase ever again.
I just thought it was about shovels.
Well, they're calling black person.
So then what's that shovel called normally?
A spade.
Okay.
That's call a spade a spade.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's a little bit on the, well, maybe not a little, it's very far on the racist
Very
scale.
far on the racist. I had no idea. Yes. Wow. Okay, that reminds me of the time my grandmother, she's a lovely woman, but she saw this comedy bit, and it's about like younger people like trying to pick up their pants and stuff like that. Yeah. And she was just like, oh, picking up the cotton, putting it in the basket, picking up the cotton. No idea what she was actually saying. And then we described to her, you realize you're talking about slavery. What? Oh, heavens! And she just couldn't handle it. But yeah, so it does happen. I had no idea that was bad.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. So anyway, so on my way there for the 50, I see this visitor information center. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's cool. And on my way back, I'm like, man, I'm starting to get a little bit of heat exhaustion at this point. And I'm like, my hair is so long. So then I call her friend, and I'm like, yo, Casey, I need a haircut, stat. So she hooks me up for tomorrow. She's like, I just saw your picture on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the ride of my life right now. And she's like, and you decided to get a haircut? I'm like, don't you? And I was a little worked up, so I probably freaked her out on the phone a bit. Because she's like, hello, welcome to blah, blah, blah. This is Casey speaking. And I'm like, yo, what up, girl? And she's like, Nathan? I'm like, yeah. I was definitely in a zone.
Yes.
Not the zone, but in a zone.
A zone.
And then while I was still in this zone, I was like, I got a funny joke I'm going to do. So I go up to the Visitor Information Center, and I'm like, hey, so I started in Charlottetown, and at this point I'm in St. Peter's, which is basically east. And I'm like, and I thought I was going to Cavendish, which is west from Charlottetown. And I'm like, so am I close? And they're like, let's get a map. And I'm like, did I mess up? They're like, you messed up. And I'm like, oh. And they're like, how did you not see the signs? I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. And they're like, yeah, it's gonna be a while back. So I'm like, what you're saying is I'm gonna be late for dinner. Yes, you're gonna be late for dinner. Only I thought it was funny, but you know, it's the little things. It's the little things. So anyway, so I'm working my way back, and I get my way into Morel, which is good, and I meet up with this couple, and they're really nice, and they're like, hey, like, so what are you doing today? I'm like, well, I'm doing my first 100. Like, woo, we're doing 30, so good on you, lad.
Yeah.
So I keep going, and they're not too far behind me. So I'm just trucking along, getting real hot at this point. I decided it's a good idea to just soak my shirt in water. Yeah. Not a good idea. Extremely uncomfortable as it keeps flapping back against you, and it's cold, it's awkward. So I took the shirt off, and then at this point, my music wasn't playing as I was like just getting all situated, and I could hear the tire rubbing, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. So I'm like, what is this? So then I look down, my tire is like every revolution just banging into like the guide rail part.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. So I'm taking my shirt off, and then like the nice couple passes by, and I'm like, oh, but they just kept on trucking. I was like, okay, you go back. I know where you're going. So anyway, so I'm like, this isn't good. So I call my, I should let you know that my boss at one of my jobs, as I'm a rock climbing instructor, he's like a bike guru. And he worked at a bike shop for like 10 years or whatever. So he knows what's up. And so I call my work, and the girl's like, hey, is this Nathan? Absentmindedly, I say, no. She's a little confused with what I say next. I'm like, where is a mat? She's like, what? I'm like, give me Matt now. So then she's like, okay, do you have a pen or something? I'm like, I have a steel trap for a brain. She tells me the numbers, and at this point, I'm getting loopy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm about 60 kilometers in. I'm getting real loopy. And she tells me the numbers, can't remember for the life of me, called 7 different people. Like, I couldn't remember the combination. At one point I called 8675309. It was bad. So I'm like, So I call her back, and I'm like, hey. And she's like, is this Nathan? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, was that you earlier? I'm like, yes. And she's like, why'd you say no? I'm like, get me Matt now. So she's like, well, Matt came back and he's gonna work out, and just give me your phone number. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I did that, and then Matt calls me, and I'm like, yo, Matt, I got an issue. I got a bent tire, kid. And he's like, oh, snap. And Matt just springs into action. He's like one of the air traffic controllers. He's just like walking me through every possible situation like it's a surgery. And he's like, okay, you see that little bit there? Take it off. Okay, get the scalpel, cut in, open. So anyway, so I'm opening it up, and he's like, is it bent? And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure if I'm holding one wheel or two. And he's like, okay. And he's like, wait, you doing your bike trip today? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, you stupid. Because at this point, it's definitely 40 degrees and it's, I'm getting hot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to see if it's bent. And he's like, okay, I'm going to finish my workout. I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to drive down and meet you. Where's the closest spot? I'm like, it's 10 kilometers away. And he's like, okay, let's meet there. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. It was the longest 10 kilometers of my life. Oh, so I'm going, and like the bike isn't going properly, and it's just it's bad, man. I take my shirt off, and then I take my helmet off at one point so I can get a little something on my hair, and then I entered what I'm gonna call caveman mode. I'm wondering if you've ever entered this before. I think it's just like when your body is like just needs to survive, like you're in that intense situation, you can't talk, you can't be coherent, you grunt and you're like, water, water, and you're just like, have you ever been in a situation like that where you're just caveman mode?
You don't have a brain anymore.
No,
you just have adrenaline and muscle memory.
You're like, I just gotta live. I just gotta. And like, I probably wasn't in any real danger of. I was probably in danger of passing out, but not dying.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, so I'm in the caveman zone, going like -2 kilometers an hour. I'm going very slowly, just with every pump, just getting drained from my body. I cover myself in water again. I'm not making any sense. I tried to eat the wrapper of my granola bar. It was good. It was good all around. So I'm like, okay. So I finally make it to the gas station that I was going to meet them at. And this poor clerk, she probably couldn't understand a word I was saying. I was just like, tired. She's like, what? I'm like, heat, bad. She's like, you can hang out here, I can make us coffee. I'm like, thank you. So she moves like these boxes and everything, and they make like a little throne for me. And I'm just like sitting there, just like dousing myself in Gatorade. I finally like work up the mental capacity to be able to type properly, but I still can barely speak. And I just said to Matt, I'm like, okay, so I think my brain's dead because I'm not making any sense. So if I don't make sense when you're talking to me, I think I'm okay. So he's like, okay, perfect. So then he picks up the bike like a champ. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, Matt, I'm not gonna make it home. So he does the good thing, drives me home. It was an adventure and a half. That was my day. It was good. It was disappointing. So I ended up getting 80 kilometers, not my 100. And the worst part was the fact that like I was telling everyone about it. I was live tweeting this whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, so it was a little disappointing, but still probably the best I've ever biked, especially that first 60K. Man, I was cruising at like 21 kilometers an hour. I was pretty excited actually. And then I just died.
You're breaking the speed limit on the trail.
Oh wait, what's the speed limit?
There's a 20 kilometer an hour speed limit.
Rebel. But yeah, so that's my story. What you got?
Very nice. I think the lessons for the story is
don't be stupid.
Check the weather before you go biking.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's like sweat did nothing. Like usually sweat cools you off.
It gets so humid here.
So because literally it's an island.
Yeah.
And it's just like the humidity was just a killer. I've never been that hot in my life. Yeah. So do you have anything like that or?
No stories.
No stories.
Quite that intense.
No stories to tell.
I have a few stories.
Nice, yeah, go on.
Little small ones.
Yeah, man.
Recently, I think I've been like a little bit more observant of like kind of the people around me and stuff, and I like observing people I don't really know. It's kind of like
okay, yeah, people watching.
Yeah, there's people watching and stuff. So, anyways, a couple recent stories. There was one day I just went for a walk, and I was walking back towards the house, and seeing this old guy on his motorbike.
Motorbiking around? Did it have a
drives
sidecar?
past me a little bit. No, it didn't have a sidecar, unfortunately. Might have bought it then. Because what he did is he pulled off the side of the road, pretty much in front of the little community center near here.
Yeah.
And put a for sale thing on it, and somebody picked him up, and he drove away. But in the meantime of him waiting between dropping it off and getting picked up, like there's just like a sadness on his face. And this was like, he was an older guy too, and I'm like, crap, I probably just seen his last bike ride.
That sucks.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's heavy.
That is heavy. His family's probably like, listen, Grandpa, you're getting a little old. I know you love the bike. And he's like, I won't part with my bike. But we got to worry about your health and your safety. And we want our grandkids to have a grandfather.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, man, that's a heavy moment.
It is heavy. It was his last bike ride. He looked very sad putting the for sale sign on. Yeah, it's a shame. I have a little more bright story from today.
Good stories, yeah.
I was driving home, and there's this kid walking up the sidewalk, and you could tell he's fairly autistic, like functioning enough that like he can be out on his own, safe and everything, but fairly highly autistic. And he was playing Pokemon Go,
rocking out.
and you know what? I think that game is freaking amazing for autistic people. He looked so happy, and he was just looking at his phone, so excited, and he was walking with such purpose, and like he was on a mission to like catch them all. And it was awesome to see somebody like just that happy and into something. And
I've definitely read that on Reddit about specifically like nurses working with like autistic kids, and like Pokemon Go was like godsend because it just works on that level. Also, at the same time, okay, maybe you know this because I don't know. What color do the kids want the gym at the hospital? Because I don't know. I don't want to steal it from them, but like I just want it to be the color they want.
I don't know. Just go in and pull all the kids. What's your favorite color?
Hey kids, what's your favorite color, huh? Because I know they're playing. They have to be playing.
Yeah,
but they can't move
it's
around.
Great for them because
man.
They're kind of confined to the hospital, so they get to do something while in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just can't really walk around much. But yeah, okay, cool. Do you have another one? You said
no. That was
the two, eh?
That was the two.
Cool. I forgot the conclusion of my story. The conclusion is, so I told you about this. My theory about myself. I've been down in the dumps, I would say, for the past while, and I was like, maybe a way to fix that is to constantly post everything on social media and be a really annoying narcissistic person. So that's my current plan right now. So that's falling in line with that plan. You know what? I didn't care that I didn't accomplish, like I care. Like I really want to accomplish that goal, but like I don't know. It was just like the thing of like at least I did it, and at least like I put myself out there a little bit, and it's more than I would have done if I hadn't have had that like obligation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really good in that sense. Oh, also my phone, when I finished, like 7 hours after the whole event, because like I started the phone quite a bit earlier, 7%. 20 to 7, music playing the whole time. I had two phones when I was going to. I felt like a Walter White type or something.
Two phones, just in case.
The burner. Well, one's my old phone that I was using for music.
Oh yeah.
Because for some reason I cannot figure out how to send files from my computer to my new phone. It's not allowing it. I looked on Reddit. It's like an issue.
Weird.
Really weird.
Very weird.
Anyway, but yeah. So that's my tale. We didn't even talk about video games this episode. That's okay.
That happens though.
That's okay. Awesome. I think this is gonna be a short one.
I mentioned Pokemon Go. Does that count?
Yeah, for half a second.
Cool.
Nice. Bye, guys.